Abuse Center, 42,000 square foot building that I got to design and raise money to create. And in that building, we house all the systems that provide services to abused children. So we have our Children's Hospital Child Abuse Team, our Special Victims Bureau of the Columbus Police Department, 17 detectives, 2 sergeants, and a lieutenant. We are their headquarters. They work out of there 7 days a week over 2 shifts. We have Franklin County Children's Services, Sexual Abuse Intake Investigation Units, 10 investigators, 2 supervisors. We have 2 Franklin County prosecutors, a domestic violence therapist from our domestic violence shelter, and the Columbus Coalition Against Family Violence, all working to heal children who have been sexually or seriously physically abused and women suffering from domestic violence. We touch over 2,000 children and families a year, and it is truly wonderful work. I have an amazing team that I get to work with every day, and I get to be more hopeful. As I describe it to people when I'm speaking, as a judge, I felt like I was standing in the ocean with a teaspoon, and no matter how much work I did, there were always a crush of other bodies to follow. At the center, I'm on the front end, and if you know the proverb about standing in the river pulling the bodies out or going upstream to see who's throwing them in, I'm now upstream, and that feels really good to me because I'm making my victims strong and allowing them to move forward as healthy adults. Because when I was on the bench, being there 9 years, I was there long enough to see some of my victims come back as perpetrators. That's not a good feeling. Now I'm at the top of the river, making sure that kids don't get thrown in and the system doesn't eat them up. So that's what I do. And if you were to talk to my middle daughter, whose office actually is in this building, she works for the OSU athletic department, she says to because it's the other thing, so I have a 12-year-old son and a 22-year-old daughter because, you know, even as an adult, you get a little careless. And so my 10-year-old son is our blessing. That's what we call him. And so we have 2 older daughters, and my oldest daughter is married. My middle daughter just graduated from college, and then we have our 12-year-old. And so my middle daughter always says to my son, "You have the nice mommy. We had the psycho mommy." So with that, you're ready to go? Do I need to kill more time? More questions?
Well, if there's any questions, but there's
yes,
questions.
in the back.
Real loud.
Do you serve on the board for any other organization?
I do. So I'm smart enough to know that in addition to my nonprofit work, I serve on a couple of boards that actually pay me. I serve on the MI Homes board, and if you need a new house, please buy one from MI Homes. My son's college fund is counting on it. We do good work. We are the 15th largest builder in the United States. And Ivy Zellman just gave us a buy, so go see our stock. I also serve on the board of Fifth Third Bank of Central Ohio. I serve on the Community Shelter Board. I also serve on the board of Ohio University. The governor just appointed me to that board in May, and I'm really excited to be back at my undergraduate alma mater serving on the board. So, yes, I do best when I'm stressed, apparently, because I keep saying yes to this, but I really love it. Service to me, being part of boards really enhances me professionally, I think, because it really gives me the ability to step out of the work I do every day and to really use other parts of my brain, and I really like that. I mean, I didn't know anything about the home building industry before I was invited to join their board, and now I love it. We hope they're going to extend that stimulus package, but you should buy now just in case, because it runs out November 30th. You're $8,000. So if you have kids, tell them to buy a house and buy it from MI. Yes.
Very loud.
Athletic offices in this building?
Yes. Well, she's a peon. Oh, I mean, she's 22. Gene Smith is not in this building. Yeah. But there are athletic department offices in this building. My daughter graduated. She was a volleyball athlete, and she graduated with a degree in sports marketing, and so she's doing a year's internship in the athletic department. She's in charge of fan experience. Now, what scares me is that she has an all-access pass for the football team. And I keep saying we don't date where we work. And she keeps looking at me like I'm crazy. She's like a kid in a candy store.
There's a question over there.
Yes.
Real loud, sir, real loud.
What what does it tell you about where we're at that you need a 42,000 square foot building for the problems you're seeing?
Yeah, isn't that the truth? For those of you that didn't hear the question, he said, what does it tell me where we're at when we need a 42,000 square foot building to deal with children who are physically and sexually abused? Well, if I had a magic wand, I would probably shut down the internet. I mean, the sad thing is that the internet has emboldened child sexual predators in a way that none of us could have imagined. They have their own chat rooms, they have their own websites, and I guess what's become more shocking to me, I thought I'd seen everything on the bench, but what's become probably most shocking to me is how lonely some women are, that they will allow people they hardly know to move into their house, and then those people rape their children. We had a case recently where a woman was talking to a guy over the internet for 3 weeks, and let me tell you ladies, he was no winner. I mean, really, when I saw his picture, I was like, ugh. Even my detective was like, I can't wait to see what mom looks like. I got this guy's picture. But she'd been talking to him on the internet for 3 weeks, moved him into her house, and surprise, surprise, he raped her 8-year-old daughter. I mean, it is astonishing to me that people think so little about their children's safety that they make those kinds of decisions. And so we are fighting an uphill battle, and I will tell you that the law is not keeping pace with technology. One of the local law enforcement agencies came to see me last year. They were extremely frustrated with the court system because they have an internet crimes unit, like those NBC Dateline shows. They pretend to be teenage girls, and they were setting up meets with guys who knew these girls were supposed to be 12 or 13 years old, and they would tell the guys to bring specific things so that they knew these guys' intent was to have sex with these girls, and then they would arrest them and get them down to court, and the judges would just give them probation. And they'd say, well, no crime really occurred. Well, really? Do we have to let him actually rape the child before we take what he's doing seriously and give him some time? And so it is a challenge to be in this work, and it is getting worse, not better. Children are sexualized in our country at a far more rapid rate than when you and I were growing up. Even if you look at the Disney channels, I mean, children are exposed to more sexualized images at the age of 7 and 8 than we were exposed to at 14. And there's actually been research to show that the way we dress our children, the TV programs that we allow them to watch, that we are making them sexualized far earlier than they need to be, because children, when they are in their 5 to 10-year-old phase, should be focused on developing their physical self, their intellectual self, their empathetic self, their character, and yet now what they see the focus on is what kind of clothes they wear. They go into Justine's and 2 Inc., and they buy these clothes that send very sexualized messages. And when I say they buy, I say we buy, because I have parents say to me, well, you know, what are you going to do? That's all that's out there. No, there's still T-shirts and jeans that are out there. You choose to buy that, and then you complain about the ramifications of it. So what it says is that our world is sick, and our morals are slipping fast. And so I think all of us, if you have children, don't forget to still hold on to the old ways, no matter what they say. My girls are right. I was on the bench when they were growing up. I was psycho. But I got last night what every mother lives for. My 22-year-old came home, and she doesn't live with us, but she came over and she said, you know, I was telling my boss, he asked me what I thought contributed to, you know, some of the success that I was having, and she said, I finally had to admit, you guys knew what you were doing. You know, I thought I was going to have to be 60 before she said that.
We'll take one more question. One more, right here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What is your vision for the alumni clubs to pay it forward?
Well, my vision for the alumni clubs is, one, I want you to continue to do the college fairs that you do and the scholarships, because I really think the big issue right now is access. And it probably has to start earlier in middle school, because as you can see with the university, our standards are getting into the elite range. And so for many young people who want to come here, they need to know in middle school what it's going to take for them to get to The Ohio State University. So I would encourage you to do mentorship programs and connect with your local middle schools, maybe elementary schools, because that's important. You know, I've said this to Gordon Gee several times. I agree with this whole thing about we need to go from excellence to eminence, but I think we can't forget who we are. We are a land-grant institution. We are supposed to guarantee access. And I actually think your voice is going to have to be heard in that. You guys are going to have to keep that in the forefront. I know there are members on the Board of Trustees who believe that, but they need to hear from you every chance we get. Yes, we want to be eminent, but we want that little boy or girl like I was growing up in Britain